Hey everyone, welcome back to the channel. I appreciate you all tuning in again. Today, we're diving into one of the most shocking prison scandals in American history. In 2013, the world was rocked by one of the craziest federal investigations in modern prison history. It really opened everyone's eyes to some wild truth. The Baltimore City Detention Center, a place designed to hold some of the city's most dangerous offenders, had been taken over, not by wardens or officials, captured by a tough prison gang, the Black Guerrilla Family. We're talking everything from drug smuggling and bribery to correctional officers getting caught up in the gang's influence. The shocking details, like how some women were even having the leaders' kids, painted a really disturbing picture of a prison that was totally out of control. This is the story of how a gang founded in California's prison yards in the 1970s spread its influence all the way to Baltimore. Okay, everyone, meet Tavon Bulldog White. Tavon White's journey is wild, full of twists and turns and unforgettable moments, and the story of systemic failures that allowed one of America's most notorious prison scandals to unfold in plain sight. Chapter 1. Roots of the Black Guerrilla Family. The Black Guerrilla Family, or BGF, traces its roots to 1971, San Quentin State Prison in California. George Jackson, a passionate Black Panther and revolutionary writer, started this movement because he was all about shaking up a prison system he saw as super racist and oppressive. When BGF first started, it was way more than just a gang. It was definitely a movement. Members swore loyalty to one another and pledged their lives to resistance. They studied Marxist ideology, saw themselves as political prisoners, and believed they were fighting a war behind bars. But over the decades, the movement transformed. By the 1980s and 1990s, it was all about making money, not ideas anymore. What once was about revolution became about survival, drugs, and power. BGF didn't just stay in California. It spread its wings all the way to East Coast cities like Baltimore. There, poverty, mass incarceration, and a crazy drug scene created the perfect storm for recruitment. The Black Guerrilla Family's motto was loyalty, love, obedience, knowledge, respect. In Baltimore, the Black Guerrilla Family grew into a powerful street gang and a massive prison empire, influencing everything around them. Its members enforced brutal discipline, used violence to silence rivals, and made connections with larger criminal organizations. By the early 2000s, BGF had transformed into more than just another gang in the city. It became a powerful institution that shaped lives and communities. Chapter 2. Who was Tavon Bulldog White? To really get how the gang managed to take over the Baltimore City Detention Center, we've got to dig into the story of its leader, Tavon White. He was born and raised in East Baltimore, right in one of the city's toughest neighborhoods. Growing up, drugs, violence, and poverty weren't just things he saw, they were part of his everyday life, shaping who he became. As a teenager, White developed a reputation on the streets. He was feared, but also respected for his charisma. People who really knew him would say he had this amazing knack for bringing folks together. He could inspire loyalty and command respect, even when everything felt like a whirlwind. But by his 20s, White's life took a darker turn. He got himself into a lot of trouble, getting arrested multiple times and finally ending up in jail for some serious stuff, like attempted murder and racketeering. For most guys, this would have felt like a total crushing defeat, right? But for Tavon White, it was like a golden opportunity. Inside the Baltimore City Detention Center, he discovered a wild world where power wasn't about fancy titles or fat paychecks. It was all about fear, loyalty, and control. Imagine navigating a place where respect is earned through street smarts and the alliances you build, not through your job title. Tavon quickly learned that in this gritty environment, the dynamics were completely different. It was a game of survival, and he was ready to play, and he intended to rule it. Chapter 3. The Takeover. By 2009, federal investigators began noticing signs that the Baltimore City Detention Center wasn't operating like a normal jail. Contraband was flooding inside, cell phones, drugs, even alcohol. Visitors weren't the only ones smuggling. Correctional officers were implicated too. At the center of it all was Tavon White. From his cell, he built a network. Wiretaps later revealed he called himself the mayor of the jail. He decided who ate where, who got protection, who had access to contraband, and who didn't. The takeover was systematic. White brought in correctional officers, using tricks and pressure to get them on board. Some officers were actually bribed with cash, while others got caught up in relationships. It's wild to think that 4 female officers ended up having kids with Tavon White. Yes, you heard correctly, 4 female officers got pregnant by an inmate while incarcerated. This really shows just how deep the corruption ran. Chapter 4. This is my jail. In 2013, federal prosecutors dropped a bombshell when they unsealed their indictment, and honestly, the details blew everyone away. The Black Guerrilla Family wasn't just hanging on in jail, they were totally running the show. Wiretaps caught Tavon White boasting about his control. In one recording, he boldly declared, "This is my jail. Anything that comes in or goes out, it all comes through me. It's pretty intense, right?" White and his lieutenants collected thousands of dollars a month through drug sales and smuggling operations. Officers helped bring in heroin, marijuana, oxycodone, and cell phones. Rival gangs in the jail had no choice but to pay tribute or risk some serious, violent backlash. Chapter 5. Corruption Exposed. The depth of the corruption shocked investigators. At least 13 correctional officers got charged for helping out the gang. Can you believe it? Inmates were actually running their own businesses from behind bars. One officer even had gang tattoos on display. Another allowed White to use her car outside the jail. Baltimore City Detention Center has really turned into more of a stronghold for the Black Guerrilla Family than an actual place for corrections over the years. Inmates had better phones than the guards. They organized parties inside cells. And officers, who were supposed to uphold the law, were entangled in the gang's web of power. Chapter 6. The Crackdown. In April 2013, things got serious when the hammer came down hard. Federal prosecutors indicted 44 people, including the notorious Tavon White and several correctional officers who were supposed to keep the peace. Charges included everything from racketeering and money laundering to drug dealing and bribery. It's a serious mix of crimes. Tavon White finally faced the music and pled guilty in court. He openly admitted he treated the detention center like his own little kingdom. By cooperating with the authorities, he helped lock up a bunch of others involved in the mess. The scandal forced Maryland officials to admit a grim reality. Their detention center had been hijacked. Chapter 7. After math and closure, the fallout was enormous, leaving everyone shocked and buzzing with disbelief. Back in 2015, Maryland Governor Larry Hogan made the call to shut down the Baltimore City Detention Center. Officials said the corruption there was just too deep to fix. For Baltimore, the scandal became a symbol of systemic failure. It revealed what happens when underpaid officers, overcrowded facilities, and organized gangs collide. For Tavon White, who was once called Bulldog, this moment signified the dramatic end of his reign over the gang scene. But let me tell you, his story, along with the audacious takeover by the Black Guerrilla Family, is just wild. It's like a real-life thriller, showcasing the sheer power and influence gangs had in America. Seriously, it's one of those jaw-dropping examples that really makes you think about the lengths people will go to for control. The big question is, how many other prisons are teetering on the brink of falling apart? Seriously, what do we need to do to break this cycle and make sure history doesn't just keep repeating itself? This was Prison Kingdom, how the Black Guerrilla Family took over the Baltimore City Detention Center. It's a wild story about power struggles and how a group managed to flip the script inside a prison. Let me know in the comments if you believe that this is still happening today in our prison systems, and if so, will it ever end? Thanks for sticking around till the end. If you found this story important, don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe for more deep dives into crime, corruption, and the hidden stories behind America's justice system. You won't want to miss what's coming next.